Nebraska's trusted news source. This is Channel 8 News at 5.
Coming up on the news, interest rates are hiked again by the Federal Reserve as they continue to fight inflation.
I've called the police, I've disarmed them, I've called mental facilities, I've begged with people.
The family of the shooter at a Target in West Omaha says they asked for help and that the incident was predictable.
But first tonight, a bill supporters say would help to keep the federal government from controlling the guns of citizens here in Nebraska. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. Earlier today, the hearing for a gun rights bill was heard at the Capitol.
The Second Amendment Preservation Act would keep Nebraska from enforcing any federal directives on guns that don't exist under the state's laws. Channel 8's Matthew Mittleiter explains more about the bill in our top story tonight.
Introduced by Senator Halloran, he says LB 194 is meant to protect the rights of gun owners from government overreach. Other states have passed similar legislation, and supporters say this bill would help to keep the federal government from controlling the guns of citizens in Nebraska. If this bill was passed, law enforcement would not have to enforce federal laws on firearms if they conflict with Nebraska law. Senator Halloran says Nebraska's own constitution guarantees the right to keep and bear arms, and this bill would keep those rights from being infringed upon.
The people of Nebraska depend on us to uphold and protect their constitutional rights, which is why LB 194 is necessary. At this time, 14 other states have passed legislation making them a Second Amendment sanctuary state, and it is time for Nebraska to be included.
Both the Omaha and Lincoln police departments had representatives speak as well, saying this law would create a number of complications and confusion for law enforcement on what laws they're supposed to enforce.
The Lincoln Police Union would like to stress their support of the Constitution and the Second Amendment. We believe LB 194 in its current construct would have unintended consequences, the result of which would negatively impact community safety, more specifically gun violence.
Opponents say the law would also make it harder for police to be held accountable when they only have to enforce certain laws and not others. Several sheriff's offices from across the state have also released statements in support of the Second Amendment and say they will stand up to federal overreach and attempts to regulate gun ownership. Reporting in Lincoln, this is Matthew Mittleiter, Channel 8 News.
Thank you very much, Matthew. In other news now, the uncle of the armed man killed by police in an Omaha Target store believes mental illness led to the deadly showdown.
The family says they tried to get 32-year-old Joseph Jones help and even got federal law enforcement involved.
He was a hurting kid. He was raised in a very tough environment, and this was predictable.
Joseph Jones's uncle says the near tragedy at Target was predictable, precisely because his schizophrenic nephew's behavior was the opposite, erratic.
You say you saw this coming. What can family members do to prevent a tragedy?
Right now, there's nothing you can do. I agonize over what I could have done different. I've called the police, I've disarmed them, I've called mental facilities, I've begged with people, and Joey was not rational.
The Sarpy County Sheriff confirms deputies have responded to more than one call at Jones's residence, but can't comment further.
I don't think there was any intention of hurting anybody.
Do you think he knew that he would scare people?
I don't think he thought through that, but we all know the answer to that.
We asked Durkin why he thinks his nephew chose that store at that time. The uncle says he doesn't believe it had any special meaning, but it was close and familiar.
We've called the police and told the police this is inevitable.
Should he have been allowed to buy guns?
No, he should not have. And once again, I say I'm pro-gun, but when you're hearing voices and they're telling you paranoid things and they're telling you that the cartel's after them and they have to protect themselves and their family and all these delusions he had. When someone says that to a psychiatrist needs to have the responsibility to say at this point in time, I'm contacting law enforcement and this person's right to own a firearm needs to be taken from them.
He wishes his nephew would have been given treatment in a facility.
Give people the tools so it never gets to the point where you have a Joey Jones who walks into a Target and decides to make the choice he made.
And Dirksen says he's in the process right now of starting his own nonprofit, hoping to change the state of mental health resources in the community. A legislative hearing was held today centering around a Nebraska man serving time for murder. A bill is centered around the case regarding Ernest Jackson's conviction and denial of a new trial based on new evidence.
Ernest Jackson was convicted in 1999 of first-degree murder under the theory he aided and abetted someone else in the crime. However, another defendant testified in his own trial that he shot the victim in self-defense, and Ernest wasn't there and was found not guilty because he acted in self-defense. Ernest can't use that testimony because the Supreme Court of Nebraska says the evidence isn't newly founded, only that it's newly available.
There is a true injustice being served right now. That the actual person who fired the shot, one, said Ernest wasn't there, but two, more importantly, convinced a jury it was self-defense. So why is somebody sitting in jail for a murder that was never a murder?
The opposition consisted of a member of Attorney General's office and the Douglas County Attorney. They believe this bill shouldn't become law because the Supreme Court of Nebraska made themselves clear that they believe this could allow false testimony in the second trial.
Such a remedy would encourage perjury when the second acquitted defendant were invited to testify in a retrial of the first case. Quote, such testimony would be untrustworthy and should not be encouraged.
When asked if currently there was a possibility for someone who was acquitted of a crime that could testify in another person's trial, both said yes. Members of the committee questioned what the difference was. They didn't have an answer for that. At some point, the committee will vote on the proposed bill. Also at the legislature today, a hearing over what is called the Convention of the States, which Nebraska has already signed up to be a part of.
If enough states agree to join, it would allow them to propose amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Today, reaction from both sides of this.
Article 5 Convention of States is a constitutional tool provided by our founders to empower the American people to hold their government accountable.
We're concerned that LR 31 could potentially radically change the Constitution without the ability for involvement from everyday people that these changes would affect.
So far, including Nebraska, 19 states have signed up to be part of this Convention of the States, but they need 34 to make it officially happen. Well, last year, lawmakers approved an amendment that says if there aren't 34 states by the year 2027, Nebraska would drop out. But some senators today propose to eliminate that time frame and stay the course for as long as it takes. The Nebraska Supreme Court is considering whether showing dozens of gruesome photographs to jurors made it impossible for Bailey Boswell to get a fair trial.
Boswell and her attorneys used the argument in appealing the life sentence she received. A jury found her guilty of conspiring with Aubrey Trail to torture and murder Sidney Loof in 2017. During Boswell's trial, prosecutors provided the jury with over 50 photos of body parts to convey the horrific murder of Loof. The justices will review the case and determine if there is sufficient reason to review the sentence or grant Boswell a new trial.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins. We were talking earlier, you get on a roller coaster, there's some dips, there's some valleys, and we're kind of going through that now, Rusty.
Yeah, we're not on our way up just yet. We've kind of got a little bit of dip first, and then we'll head on up and see how warm we can get over the weekend. But Friday's got to come first, and it's going to have a chill to it as well. Now here's what's going on outside right now. Mostly clear skies, just a few clouds in the western half of the state, and that's about it. So not a whole lot going on out there, but it is a little breezy. You can see those flags blowing around with plenty of blue sky. A little bit of snow left on the ground. Temperatures just not warming up enough to get that snow to melt off. 15 right now in Aurora, 18 in Doniphan, 17 in Grand Island. We're at 15 in Milford, also 18 degrees in the capital city. Much colder off to the north and east. An Arctic high pressure area is trying to nudge its way in, so single digits from Valentine to O'Neill to Norfolk, around 13 degrees in Omaha. A little bit of a breeze too, so there's a wind chill going along with those cold temperatures, especially in the northeast. That north to northeast wind at 5, 10, 15 miles per hour, maybe up to 20 miles per hour. So well below zero for the wind chill, especially in Norfolk, where it's around 10 degrees below zero for that wind chill. Your forecast as we head through this evening, we'll see temperatures in the teens, 16 degrees by 6 p.m., 13 degrees by 8, and dropping down almost into the single digits by 10 o'clock tonight with clear skies and a north wind at 10 to 20, eventually at 5 to 15 miles per hour. So a cold start to the day tomorrow will lead to a cold Friday afternoon. Then we warm up. More on that in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Rusty. A standoff in Grand Island this morning put a hospital on lockdown for several hours.
Police say they had to evacuate an apartment building as well. It started at 5 a.m. with a disturbance call involving an intoxicated man. Police say that man barricaded himself in a hallway of the apartment building with knives and guns. After 4 hours of negotiating, the situation ended peacefully.
A suspicious article was found on UNL's East Campus today. UNLPD says it found it near Hardin Hall around 8 a.m. They closed down the area for about a half an hour. Tonight, we just checked in with them. They tell us what they found turned out to be a gas can, an oxygen tank that might have fallen out of someone's vehicle.
Court records show a Lincoln man charged following a fire in Greeley County has taken a plea deal. 34-year-old Martin Markvica pleaded guilty to charges of first-degree arson. In exchange of his plea, a drug possession charge was reduced. Markvica is scheduled to be sentenced on March 20th. Now to the economy and the Fed's desperate attempts to tamp down the sky-high inflation. The Federal Reserve once again raising its key interest rate, this time by a quarter point.
So what does this mean for you? Well, if you're carrying a balance on your credit card, it'll cost you a little more. If you're trying to buy a home, analysts do not expect to see much of a change in the cost of a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. And if you invest in CDs, good news, your rate of return most likely would go up.
And while recent developments are encouraging, we will need substantially more evidence to be confident that inflation is on a sustained downward path.
Has signaled it will keep hiking rates until it can declare victory on inflation. Now to the blockbuster announcement from Beyonce, her first tour in years.
And how Ticketmaster is taking proactive steps to avoid another Taylor Swift-sized meltdown. In November, Ticketmaster canceled sales for Swift's tour after the site crashed during the pre-sale. Ticketmaster blaming bots for the widespread outages and hours-long wait times for tickets, which left millions of fans empty-handed for the singer's upcoming tour. Congress is now investigating its parent company, Live Nation.
This is what led to a terrible consumer experience, which we deeply regret.
Ticketmaster should look in the mirror and say, I'm the problem. It's me.
The companies say they have since implemented new policies to ensure fans are able to purchase Beyonce tickets. Instead of releasing tickets for all shows at once, they'll institute rolling sales dates depending on the city, but you must sign up as a verified fan, which will discourage bots and ticket resellers. Still to come on the news tonight, the White House is under growing pressure to advance the stalled issue of police reform on Capitol Hill.
The latest details on that right after the break.
The new
Today, President Biden meeting with the Congressional Black Caucus at the White House amid renewed calls for police reform.
This after the deadly beating of 29-year-old Tyree Nichols. In Washington, bipartisan negotiations for comprehensive police reform fell apart in 2021. At that time, President Biden signed an executive order to create a national database of police misconduct, among other provisions. The White House calling on Congress to pass permanent legislation.
One must ask, was not it in the interest of keeping the public safe that Tyree Nichols would be with us here today? We demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it.
The parents of Tyree Nichols accepted an invitation to attend President Biden's State of the Union address next week. House Democrats plan to reintroduce the George Floyd Act right after the address.
Now, your Storm Alert team forecast with Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins.
So the drought monitor was released. It's Thursday today, and they've gathered all the data. Nothing has changed, and that is for a good reason. It's that time of year where the soil is just solid, so nothing can really change. So just kind of wanted to give you a heads up that drought monitor hasn't changed, but there's still a lot of moisture sitting on top of the ground. So hopefully when we start to see some warmer temperatures, things start to improve. Southeast Community College at 84th and O Street. I'm going to get out of the way of the sunset because that's my favorite part of the day, looking at the sun going down with mostly clear skies. Just a quiet, chilly evening out there. Temperatures are in the teens. 16 at East Campus, 18 at the airport, also at Denton Road and Yankee Hill Road at 17 degrees. So it's a chilly one out there, and we'll continue to see these temperatures cold for at least the next 24 hours. Then things will start to change up a little bit. Colder air to the north, a little bit warmer air to the south, 24 in Fairbury, 23 in Beatrice, nearing single digits. Central City at 10, 12 in Columbus. And this is, you remember the last 2 days? Our 24-hour temperature change there was a lot of orange and a lot of red. Well, today it's purples and blues. 20 degrees colder in Columbus than it was 24 hours ago, 21 degrees colder in Wahoo, and 27 degrees colder in Omaha. What happened is Minnesota left their front door open, and all the cold air just came rushing down towards us. 19 degrees difference in Lincoln and 15 degrees. Love blaming Minnesota. My wife's from there, so whenever I can do that. It's wind speed directly out of the north, and that's where that cold air is from. So if we can get that wind to switch around to the south, which it's going to eventually do tomorrow, it'll start to warm up. But until then, cold air is just filtering down. So we have a wind chill that's barely above zero in Lincoln, barely below zero in Wahoo and Columbus. So everybody really close to zero, closer to 10 in Beatrice and Hebron. But boy, if you were outside at all today, this is not surprising. That wind chill had a bite to it, and we were seeing wind gusts anywhere from 30 to 35 miles per hour at times. So there's the wind chill that is well below zero, O'Neill, Norfolk, and it's even colder north and east. But just about everybody, the eastern half of the state, single digits for wind chill, double digits a little bit further west. Very quiet out there right now. Satellite radar not really showing much, just a few clouds as we head through tonight and into the day tomorrow. So really all this stormcast is going to show is that we'll see a mixture of clouds and sun, clouds, then clouds, and then sun. So there's no precipitation in the forecast for quite a while. Small chances as we head through next week, and that's about it. But notice everything is just kind of whittles away, and then a few more clouds try to pop up Friday evening. Just a really quiet forecast. Cold tonight. Temperatures dropping between 0 and 5 or 6 degrees above zero. Some spots may briefly drop below the 0 degree mark, but I think most of us will be around 3, 4, 5 degrees. We'll say 4 in Lincoln, mostly clear, cold, a north wind at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Highs tomorrow will try. We'll see some sunshine, but we'll also see a gusty southeast wind. That will eventually start to help us out. It'll first warm us up into the upper 20s and lower 30s, but it will continue to warm us up as we head through the weekend. 32 degrees on Friday, still below average by about 5 degrees, but we're getting there. And then on our way up, that roller coaster ride that we're on, Saturday and Sunday is when we start to chug our way up. 48, 50, and 48. Small rain chance on Monday, slowly dipping back down into the 40s, middle 40s as we head through the first half of next week. A chance for some mixed precipitation on Thursday. And then we kind of fall off a little bit there towards the end of next week and into next weekend. But overall, we will warm up. We just got to wait one more day, and then at least, timing. Mother Nature doing us kind of a favor here. If you have any outdoor plans over the weekend. Pretty nice weekend to be out and about.
Yeah, now, Rusty, I didn't quite catch that when you were showing the stormcast. Was it sun, sun, rain? No, sun, sun, cloud, sun, clouds?
AAB, AB, AAB.
Cloud, sun, cloud, sun.
I don't remember.
I was just trying to keep track, planning my days.
You're getting him all frustrated.
I know. I had to give him a hard time. All right, thank you, Rusty. A split day on Wall Street today. The Dow falling 39 points. NASDAQ is up 385. S&P also adding 61. Here are your numbers. You're watching Channel 8, Nebraska's trusted news source.
Tonight.
Know that Punxsutawney Phil predicted 6 more weeks of winter, but what about Nebraska's own little rodent?
Unadilla Billy is also saying 6 more weeks of winter. Here's her picture this morning during Southeast Nebraska's own celebration. So I guess we now have 2 sources saying more winter ahead, which I know Chief Meteorologist Rusty Dawkins is super stoked about.
You know what? They're wrong. And I'll tell you why. There's actually 6 weeks and 4 days of winter because it starts on the 20th, which is, so technically,
yeah, calendar-wise, yeah.
Yeah, but we do have 6 more weeks of winter. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what the calendar says. But, you know, around here, we tend to start to warm up well before that, so we'll see what happens. In fact, it's going to warm up this weekend. I bet the golf course is going to be a little busy this weekend as well. Right now, outside, looking pretty nice. Look at all that blue sky. It's a chilly blue sky. 18 in Lincoln, 21 in Beatrice, 12 in Columbus, 8 in Norfolk, goodness, 12 in York, and 13 degrees in Aurora. Notice the north wind not helping matters out. That's giving us a wind chill well into the single digits, just above or just below 0. Satellite radar quiet, just a few clouds in western Nebraska, and that is about it. Just not a whole lot to talk about. And in the Lincoln forecast, temperatures chilly tomorrow, blustery, 32. There'll be that wind that's kind of kicking around. 48 degrees on Saturday, much warmer. I think we'll get to 50. If not in Lincoln, some spot in southeast Nebraska will get close to 50 on Sunday. I'm going to say we're going to get there on Sunday in Lincoln, and I think we'll even get close on Monday as well. But hour by hour for tomorrow, look how close or how cold we start early tomorrow morning. So bundle up if you have to be outside.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Rusty, and thank you all for joining us.
Have yourself a good night. We'll be back at 6 o'clock. World News is next.
With the Channel 8 News mobile app, you'll be the first to know. Get alerts about breaking news and weather, all in the palm of your hand.
It takes time to make Amigos enchiladas. It's not the easiest way, just the best. Amigos has the faves you crave.
Closed captioning on Channel 8 Eyewitness News is brought to you by